Hello and good evening. Mad Dog Dave here, talking on the state of the New York Yankees. I realize this is late news, but I want to give you my opinion, and then you can take it from there. I want to give you my opinion on what went on Sunday when Joe Torre took the stand and took his speech. George Steinbrenner made Joe Torre famous. Joe Torre was fired 3 times by the Mets, Atlanta, and the Angels or the Cardinals fired him. Then he resigned. And I can remember in 1996, the Yankees threw Buck Showalter to the curb and hired Joe Torre. And the Daily News, which is our New York hometown newspaper, along with the New York Post, says Yanks hire Clueless Joe. Well, I agree. Joe Torre, you're not a good manager. You know, George Steinbrenner said to Joe Torre, "What do you need? What do you need to win? Because I want to win." The guy you really have to thank is Popeye, Don Zimmer. We all know him. He sat right next to Torre and whispered in his ear. I wonder if those whispers were, "Hey Joe, I think you should do this." Joe Torre surrounded himself with a great pitching coach. And the pitching coach was Mel Stottlemyre. He also won a World Series with our arch rivals, the New York Mets. And he did not, at the Hall of Fame ceremonies, when you're elected in the Hall of Fame, you need to thank everyone. You need to thank your children. You need to thank your wife for putting up with, this because it's a hard job. A wife is raising children, and you're out on the road, and sometimes you're home 80 games a year out of the year. That's all you're home for. And when you travel, she gets stuck with the kids. Now, getting back to Joe Torre, not even a mention of the boss. Oh, I want to thank George Steinbrenner. That's it. That's it. The boss made Joe Torre 4 championships. He spent his money on 4 championships. In the beginning, the Yankees had what you call the core four. I don't need to mention them, but I'll mention them. Derek Jeter, Jorge Posada, Mariano Rivera, and Andy Pettitte were the core four. The person who you have to thank about that is Gene. Gene Michael was the scouting director. Back then, back in the late 2000s, or no, not late 2000, back in 1980, uh, we had Dave Winfield had a Dave Winfield Foundation. And I don't know if you're into sports, but Steinbrenner hired a criminal named Howard Spira to get some I guess him and Dave Winfield were at odds to get some, you know, bad stuff, bad publicity on Dave Winfield's foundation. Well, it didn't work, and it went to the commissioner, Bowie Kuhn, and the commissioner suspended him for life. Well, he again, Steinbrenner again, went back to the commissioner and asked to be reinstated, and after 2 years, he was reinstated. So Gene Michael had 2 years to put this together, and he put a damn good. I mean, Derek Jeter, mesmerized. Andy Pettit, who's seen that coming? Jorge Posada, great catcher. Joe Girardi was put in as a catcher to help Jorge Posada. And I think Joe Girardi did a damn good job. We have Andy Pettit, Jorge Posada, and we also have Bernie Williams, too. He's not a member of the Core Four. Now, Bernie Williams, what he did in 1996, he virtually killed the Texas Rangers with home runs. I think he holds the record for the best batting average in the game in postseason. When postseason came out, Scott Brocious hit 235 during the regular season, but in the postseason, he went haywire. The Yankees went on to beat the Braves. Yankees went on to beat the Padres twice. But Joe Torre won 4 World Series. Now, should he get all the credit? No. Gene Michael is the one that found these people. Joe Torre just had to sit there and make sure that the players like A-Rod, Jeter, Bernie Williams, he was in the Paul O'Neill sweepstakes. Paul O'Neill was a great addition. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm saying is not even a mention of George Steinbrenner again at the Hall of Fame for Joe Torre. Clearly, Joe Torre missed it. But let's cut to the chase. Do you think Joe Torre won that World Series on his own? Was there anything mentioned of Jim Leyritz? And I'll get to you about Jim Leyritz right now. Jim Leyritz was the catcher slash first baseman for the New York Yankees back in the 90s, the late 90s. I don't know if it was 98 or 99. 98 or 99. Well, Kenny Rogers happened to pitch that game. I happened to be there at that game. It was down in Atlanta, Atlanta's old stadium, Fulton County Stadium, if I'm not wrong, because I know I'm the encyclopedia of all of sports. Well, anyway, let me go on. Jim Leyritz hit a 3-run homer off of Mark Wohlers. You can watch it. I'm sure it's on YouTube. And he won the game for the Yankees. And the Yankees were down 2-0 going to Atlanta for 3. So it didn't look too good. Well, you know what? Atlanta never won a game. And Atlanta never won another game. And you know who the losing pitcher was for Atlanta? He's a Hall of Famer now, Greg Maddux. Greg Maddux was a good pitcher. I didn't know that his nickname was Mad Dog, so we have another Mad Dog out there. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap it up. Clearly, Joe Torre snubbed the Steinbrenner family. Didn't like it at all. I think of George Steinbrenner as my father, because he would go to all lengths to win a championship. Now, if you're the Boston Red Sox fan, if you're an Oakland A's fan, if you're an Atlanta Braves fan, whatever fan you are, would you want to start your team with George Steinbrenner? I know I would. And remember, you can't just win with money. You have to have the right people. You have to have a good scouting department. You have to have a good manager. I see a great manager in Joe Girardi, a better manager than Joe Torre. Last year, the Yankees had a whole minor league system come up, and you know what? We almost made the playoffs. Joe Girardi can only do what he can do. Now, if Joe Torre had those players, it would be terrible. We wouldn't even be near the playoffs. So I think Don Zimmer, Gene Michael, the boss, Randy Levine, the president of the Yankees, Hal Steinbrenner, Hank Steinbrenner, Jennifer Steinbrenner. Okay. They made Joe Torre into what he's in. And that plaque is up there because this boss spent money. And because he had a good surrounding around him. He had good people around him. So that is my State of the Yankees speech. As you know, the Yankees currently need a hitter and a pitcher. CC Sabathia is on a disabled list. We got Michael Pineda coming back in mid-August, if he does come back. I believe Mark Teixeira will start tonight. Brian McCann is a very big disappointment. He's a catcher, not a first baseman. And it's pretty much all I got. I'm hoping that the Yankees do make the playoffs, and I'm hoping for another World Series championship, and walking out and watching the Yankees walk down the Canyon of Heroes. Canyon of Heroes is our big parade. And I'll tell you, New York is the best place. Forget LA. They're a bunch of celebrities. But New York, man, it's like Frank Sinatra. You can make it here. You can make it anywhere. So again, this is Mad Dog signing off. I hope you liked this video. God bless you. And God bless, once again, God bless America. Thank you.